Hello, friends. Welcome to Crossnore Communities for Children's Facebook live show, The Way Home, as well as our podcast that comes out on Fridays. My name is Holly Kessler, and I'm the Senior Director of Community Relations for Crossnore. Every Tuesday, we're right here on Facebook with some of our staff or perhaps a community partner, and we talk about the work that we do at Crossnore. We talk about the child welfare system. We talk about community partnerships, and we're just really glad that you're here today. If you miss our live show, you can always rewatch us on Facebook or catch the show on YouTube. And like I mentioned, our podcast comes out on our blog on Fridays, and you can find that at crossnore.org. So there's plenty of ways to engage with us here on Facebook or on the podcast, and we're delighted that you're here. Today's guest is Jamie Southern. Jamie is the Executive Director of Bookmarks here in Winston-Salem, and she's one of our community partners, and we just love Bookmarks. So we are delighted that Jamie is here today and hope you will join us in welcoming her to the show. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Hi, Holly. Good morning.
Good to have you here today. Hope all is well in your world.
Going well so far. Can't complain. Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's amazing how quick the year has started, and time is flying, isn't it?
It is. We have come back from the holidays just hitting the ground running. So I know you have as well. So much to do, and we're already rolling with the year.
Absolutely. Well, why don't you introduce yourself to our watchers and listeners? Tell us about where you work and how long you've been there, and anything else that you want to share about your life.
Sure. So I am the Executive Director of Bookmarks. I've been at Bookmarks for about 11 years now. Started off as the Operations Director. And in that time, we've grown quite a bit, from a year-round festival to now having a nonprofit independent bookstore, as well as all of the other outreach and programs that we do throughout the year. So my job has changed quite a bit in that 11 years. I come from a book background. I've been in the book industry now for about 21 years. So that has been my expertise that I've been able to bring to the organization. I moved to Winston-Salem in 2009 and love it here. I've fallen in love with this city and this community of so many wonderful organizations that are doing so much good in this community. So it's just been my privilege to work with great groups like Crossnore and all of our other community partners. I live with my husband and our almost 7-year-old daughter, who is a first grader at Spies Elementary.
Wow.
And we have 2 older kids as well who live here in Winston-Salem too.
Wow, you are busy, Jamie. That is a lot to do.
It is, and it's great and it's fun.
Yeah. So you said that you have come from kind of a book background. Have you ever written a book?
I am a reader, not a writer. I promise you do not want to read anything that I would try to write. So I leave that to the professionals. My husband's a writer, and I leave all the writing to him.
Okay. Well, you mentioned a little bit about the history of Bookmarks, but I did want you to tell us more about that. There's some of it that I don't even know, even though you and I have talked about this before. But tell us about the beginnings of Bookmarks. I know the store hasn't been open as long as Bookmarks itself has been in existence. And then we want to talk about the festival as well.
Yeah, so we started as a literacy project from the Winston-Salem Junior League into the year 2000. They were focusing on early childhood literacy here in town and had the idea of bringing a book festival to Winston-Salem. And so Debbie Harley was the Junior League president at the time. And so she kind of came with this idea of let's bring a literary arts festival to the City of Arts and Innovation. So the first festival was planned and held in Old Salem in 2004. And the organization has really just grown from there, from an annual festival to all the other additional programs that we've added. We were completely volunteer run until 2010, when the board hired our first executive director. I came on about a year later, and it was the two of us working part-time for a few years until we grew from there. So we worked out of our homes for the first several years. We had festival supplies and storage around town.
Oh my goodness.
And I think it's just been a grassroots organization for sure the first 10 or so years, really, with a lot of people behind the idea of celebrating books and celebrating literacy and coming together to make that happen.
I love that. I love that beginning. And when you said you guys were working out of your homes at the beginning, I immediately thought, well, that prepared you well for the pandemic, didn't you? Because you'd already.
True. I much prefer being around others that I work with, but yeah, we certainly did do that for several years. When we first got our office space, our very first office space, we thought that we had really hit the jackpot. So I never take anything for granted that we have at Bookmarks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then the store itself, when did the store open exactly?
Yeah, so, really the thoughts behind having a bookstore started, I guess around 2013 with strategic planning with the board. And that was an idea that was brought up as one day, could we conceive of Bookmarks having a bookstore? And I thought at the time that was, a pipe dream, something that maybe would happen in 20 years' time. And we began selling books ourselves, and that really became a game changer for us because it allowed us to do so much more with authors. So we started thinking about it a little bit more seriously towards the end of 2015, and by April of 2016 we decided to launch a committee to assess the feasibility of that. Is it actually possible for us to have a bookstore? And a lot of the reasoning behind that was, if you don't have a space of your own, you're constantly renting out spaces for everything that we do, all the programs, all the events that we wanted to have. And that's very expensive for a small nonprofit. So having a place that people could gather to talk about books and interact and connect with each other, connect with authors, have story times, book clubs, all those things that we wanted to do around books, we really needed the space for it. So it was more than a bookstore right from the beginning. And the community really got behind us very quickly. We did not have a bookstore downtown at that point. Borders had been closed, and there was Barnes and Noble, of course, on the other side of town, but nothing downtown anymore. So a lot of people really got excited about the idea. We were able to raise the money very quickly that we needed to get it started. And next thing we knew, we were open by July of 2017.
Wow. That I think in the scope of business planning, that seems like it happened fast.
It did. It was a really quick turnaround and honestly very surprising. It took us a while to find the best location that we wanted, somewhere with parking, all those things that we needed. And things just worked out in a quicker way than what we could have even hoped for. So we were very lucky and fortunate, and we're very grateful.
That's amazing. It's I think that you're moving in the right direction when the doors open that quickly, right?
Right. Yeah. It was positive. It was good reinforcement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I just love the bookstore, and it's just it's beautifully decorated, and it is lovely space to be in. It's quiet, serene, and your staff is amazing and knowledgeable. So for those that have not been to the bookstore, I would encourage you to go for sure. And so tell us a little bit about the role that Bookmarks plays in the community. So you mentioned
Mhm.
some programming besides the festival. What
Right.
kinds of things do you do with community partners and offering other types of programming?
Yeah, so that was really a shift for us
Mhm.
early on, and how we started to see the need that was there in our community for literacy. I mean, it's still a problem today. And, a lot of people are working to try to solve that and get at the root of the problem, and try to make a difference. And our role in that is we don't teach people how to read. We more want to inspire the love of reading in people. We want people to become lifelong readers, because really reading, the best thing about reading is that you're learning, but kind of deeper than that, I think, is that you're growing as a person. You're able to understand the world around you. You're able to understand what your role is in the world. You're able to identify with people who don't look like you, who don't speak the same language. So we wanted to create that passion and that love for reading, even in the most reluctant of readers. So what we do, we love working with community partners. We see collaboration as the key to really moving that needle of literacy, but also making connection possibility, making true community possible a possibility. And I think collaboration is the best way to do that. We have so many wonderful groups in this community, excuse me, and we love working with all of them. So the best way that we can do that is get to know people like Crossnore, learn what your needs are, learn what your mission is, who your audience is that you serve. And then when we have opportunity presented to us, maybe a new author, a new book comes to our attention that we think, oh gosh, that would be a perfect fit for Crossnore and what they're trying to do this year with their community.
Mhm.
Then I can reach out to my friend Holly and say, hey, this sounds like a great opportunity for us to collaborate.
Yeah.
And we do that groups with health service organizations, all different people, especially with the schools, and that's where we try where we find really the most satisfaction in what we do is seeing the furthering of other people's missions right alongside ours.
Yeah. Yeah. And the things that we have participated in have been great partnerships, but have also just been so meaningful for the kids that we serve. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're super grateful for the ways that you guys partner with us. Three things that you guys did this past year that were some of my favorites. Parapalooza. So I went, I'm assuming y'all had done this before, but I went this past year. It was my first time.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just an amazing night just to hear from different authors and,
Mm-hmm.
be able to purchase their books and even meet them, tell folks about Parapalooza, because that was
Mm-hmm.
just a fun, fun, fun event.
It really is. It's so much fun. And it's kind of a weird thing to explain to people. So I'm glad you brought it up. We do it every year as part of our movable feast weekend. So this year is our 11th anniversary of that event. It's so
Yeah.
much fun both days. So Saturday night, we do. As you said, a Parapalooza type event. So that is, we have anywhere from 20 to 25 authors. They all write different styles of books for different audiences. They have different backgrounds. They write fiction, nonfiction, memoirs, history books, romance, whatever.
Mhm.
And we briefly introduce them and that book in a few sentences. Then we let the authors read from their books. So they read a paragraph. That's why we call it Parapalooza. And if that paragraph is short, they basically read about 1 to 2 minutes. And you wouldn't think that in that short amount of time that you would learn a lot about the book and the author, but you really do. It's something about hearing the author's words read from that author,
Yeah.
with their inflection and with their passion. It's really a fascinating event because you do get to hear from so many different people all
Mhm.
at once.
Mhm.
And often what happens is I come into that event with my idea of the books that I'm interested in, the books I want to make sure to read, and then I leave with a whole new list of people who, after hearing them read, I'm like, oh, that sounds fascinating. I need that book. So
Absolutely.
that's the
Absolutely.
good thing about it.
Yeah, and you're right about hearing the author's words in, coming out of the author's mouth. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we got to hear Phoebe Zurich at the last Parapalooza read
Right.
from her newly published book at that time about the Daryl Hunt case, which might be
Mm-hmm.
a book that I would have picked up just because it's about our area. But
Right.
100% hearing her read it, I was immediately like, that's the book I have to buy tonight. So
Yeah.
it was really, really impactful.
Yeah, it's kind of a preview event, really, a way to you could go to an event with Phoebe and hear her talk for an hour and a half about the book, or you could hear her just read a little bit, get an idea of it, and
Yeah.
then decide if you want to learn more and read more. So it's really a great way to sample a lot of different books in one event.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then
Mm-hmm.
y'all also do during the year, and I think kind of during the summer, maybe book with a purpose.
That's right. Yeah. So in 2020, which was the worst possible timing for us, we decided to update our branding and our logo, and we added the tagline "Books with Purpose" to our logo.
Mhm.
And that has helped us kind of reframe everything that we do. We like to be intentional about our programming choices, about the books that we pick to carry in the bookstore. So everything we do is through that lens of books with purpose. And so we were looking at how could we rework our summer reading program, which at the time had just kind of, I don't know, fizzled out. The school, everybody has a summer reading program. We really wanted it to reach all ages and incorporate the whole community. How could we get the community talking to each other, not just reading a book at home and, doing a report on it or whatever is traditional for kids for summer reading, but how could we get those kids to interact with kids from a different school or with older adults in the community? So we decided to use the tagline for the organization and just make it book with purpose. So we concentrate on a book in the summer that creates an opportunity for intergenerational dialogue and
Mhm.
programming around that book and that topic.
Mhm.
And that was the first one we did was in 21. And that was very successful. We repeated that again last year and have a really exciting book for this year that we're really excited to kick off at the end of May. So programming does run through summer. We wrap up the programming at the festival in September with some sort of closing event,
Mhm.
and it's just really great way to bring in all of our community partners. Really amplify one kind of theme, one story
Mhm.
throughout the community.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about this summer. I can't wait till y'all unveil what
Yeah.
it is. And then the other thing that we partnered with you guys on this past year were your the Saturdays. It was a family day that we did in May. I think each of them sort
Right.
of have a different theme, but it's an opportunity for families to come to Bookmarks and
Mhm.
maybe meet some other community partners, but also hear the kids get to hear a book read.
Right.
That was a really we partnered with you guys in May for a
Mhm.
family day, and myself and one of our board of trustees, Catherine Northington, came over and read and
Mhm.
read books about families and
That's right.
different families and all the different sizes and shapes and makeups of families for
Mhm.
that were there. It was really, really fun.
It was, and that's been the great idea of Lupe Penn, our youth and schools manager, to reimagine what storytime used to be, and
Mhm.
to make it more into a family engagement opportunity for us to allow an opportunity to amplify one of our community partners and their mission to the families that come into Bookmarks on a normal morning to shop or to listen to a book being read. And what we didn't want to do is a traditional story time focus. We really wanted it to be centered around a topic, whatever that community partner's mission is, to really offer a chance for them to get that mission out to these families. So we started that last year. We had really great, successful events with different partners, and it's just fun to see uh, the the way that we can, certainly have community within nonprofits, within other groups that we
Mhm.
work with,
Mhm.
and allowing that space for the kids who come, to the story time to hear about what makes a family, that there's
Yeah,
all different kinds of families that might look different from mine. So it's a great learning and growing experience, not just for
mhm.
the kids, but for the adults that come as well. We really love doing that.
Absolutely. And I thought your staff was so thoughtful and intentional, because when Lupe and I first started talking about it, she said that, because May is, Mother's Day, and y'all
Right.
thought, well, maybe we'll do a Mother's Day event, and then realized maybe not everybody has a mother in their home,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe their mother has passed away, or,
Yeah,
there's all kinds of family makeups, like you said. And so y'all decided
absolutely.
it was a family day. And
Mm-hmm.
I loved that, being so thoughtful around who might be in the audience. That was terrific.
Yeah, and we try very hard to create a sense, a community of belonging within Bookmarks,
Mhm.
to help everybody understand that books are for them, certainly, but that we can create connection and belonging through these events, through books, with each other. We're all different. How can we create that community together? And we love working with partners like Crossnore to make that happen.
Yeah, well, we do too, because we feel like that is super important. It's really important to the children and families
Mhm.
we work with, and I think important in our community. So, one last thing about the festival, just in case anybody is not familiar with
Uh-huh.
it, it is held in downtown Winston, and it is big. I was surprised at the number of folks. I think you told me y'all have usually around 20,000 people.
Mhm.
So that is a lot
It's
of
big.
people. But you have
It
authors,
is. It's a lot of people.
yeah, and you have authors that come in, and folks get to meet them. You have that line for
Mhm.
autographs was like wrapped around the block a couple of times, like this past year. And so, and you have food trucks. Like, it's a really great
Mhm.
day. So have y'all set
Is.
the date? Have you set the date for this year?
We have. So our 18th anniversary festival is September 23rd. We will have some events that week leading up to it, but Saturday, like you said, is the big giant free street festival that takes place right outside our bookstore and offices on Spruce Street, Holly Avenue, Poplar Street. And yeah, we invite about 50 authors to participate. They do panel discussions, they do poetry readings, they do workshops, they do lecture style events. We invite, I think this year we've had about 60 or 70 community organizations that were out as exhibitors, or maybe publishers come and sell some books, or writers groups come. But we have all different kinds of people come as exhibitors, as food trucks, like you said. We have events for all ages. So there's a whole separate kids activity area. We've been working with Read, Write, Spell on that kids family activity area where we gear the crafts and activities around the books that we have for kids. So that's a lot of fun. We have events in English and Spanish. Like, it's just a really fun celebration of books and stories and how we all connect through books and stories.
That is amazing. I again cannot wait for September for the festival to come back. So, folks, if you have not been to Bookmarks, it's, downtown on 4th Street, please go by and check it out. But Jamie, how can folks learn more about it, maybe online, before they even come in the store?
Absolutely. So the best way to find all the information is on our website. It's bookmarksnc.org. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at bookmarksnc. We have a newsletter where you can learn more about how to get involved. We always have volunteer opportunities. And then we just always have a lot of events going on, free events that are held at the bookstore, but also at other community venues. So lots of ways to get involved and to find your fit with Bookmarks.
That is great. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for all that you do personally in our community, but also all of your staff and through Bookmarks. We really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Holly. Well, same goes for Crossnore. We're really love being a community partner of Crossnore's. So thank you all for what you do.
Well, thank you. Friends, as I have thanked Jamie for being here today, let me also say thanks to each of you who are watching or listening. We so appreciate the opportunity to tell you about Crossnore and about our partners like Bookmarks. For more information, please visit our website at crossnore.org or follow us on our social media channels as well. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. That's it for today, but I hope you will join us again next week right here on The Way Home.